the fasting protocol that reversed his biological age. He wasn't trying to live forever. He just wanted to stop feeling old. The fatigue, the brain fog, the inflammation, the feeling that his body was aging faster than it should. So he turned to something ancient and dangerously misunderstood. Fasting, not as a diet, not as weight loss, but as a biological reset. What happened next shocked even the researchers studying longevity science. His biomarkers began improving, inflammation dropped, energy returned, and according to biological age tracking, his body started moving in the opposite direction of aging itself. Because hidden inside periods of controlled starvation, scientists may have discovered one of the most powerful survival mechanisms ever built into the human body. For most people, aging feels gradual. A little less energy every year, slightly worse sleep, brain fog that becomes harder to explain, recovery slowing down. Until one day, the body no longer feels like it belongs to you. That's exactly where his story began. In his late 30s, he wasn't technically unhealthy. Blood tests looked mostly normal. He exercised, ate relatively clean, functioned like everyone else around him. But biologically, something was changing. He woke up exhausted. His focus collapsed by afternoon. Inflammation lingered for weeks after stress or poor sleep. And despite doing everything modern health culture recommends, he felt older every month. That's when he discovered something that completely changed the way he viewed the human body. Chronological age and biological age are not always the same thing. Chronological age is simple, the number of years you've been alive. But biological age attempts to measure how old the body actually behaves based on biomarkers linked to metabolism, inflammation, cellular health, recovery, and disease risk. And according to longevity researchers, some people are aging much faster than they realize. That idea led him into the world of biohacking, cold exposure, sleep tracking, blood glucose monitoring, VO2 max testing, supplement stacks. But one area kept appearing again and again in longevity science discussions: fasting, not starvation, not crash dieting, controlled fasting. Researchers at organizations like National Institute on Aging and scientists studying metabolic health, autophagy, and cellular repair began uncovering evidence that periods without food may trigger survival mechanisms deeply connected to aging itself. The idea sounded almost absurd. How could eating less possibly improve health in a culture obsessed with constant nutrition? But evolution may explain it. For most of human history, food scarcity was normal. The human body evolved in environments where periods without eating weren't dangerous anomalies. They were expected. Survival depended on adapting to scarcity efficiently, so the body developed backup systems. And some scientists believe those systems activate most strongly when food disappears. That's what fascinated him, because modern humans rarely enter that state anymore. Breakfast immediately after waking up, snacks between meals, sugar-loaded drinks, late-night eating. The body stays in a near-constant fed state, and according to some metabolic researchers, that may quietly impair processes linked to insulin sensitivity, inflammation control, and cellular maintenance. So he designed an experiment. At first it was simple: 16 hours without food, then 18, then 24. Eventually, he adopted a prolonged fasting protocol combined with carefully controlled nutrition during eating windows. Water, electrolytes, mineral balance, protein optimization, everything tracked with obsessive precision. The first phase was brutal. His brain rebelled immediately. Cravings intensified, energy crashed, sleep became unstable. His body demanded constant glucose because it had spent years depending on it. Most people quit during this phase, and biologically it makes sense why ultra-processed food doesn't just feed the body. It hijacks reward pathways in the brain. Sugar, refined carbohydrates, and hyper-palatable foods trigger dopamine responses powerful enough to create compulsive eating behaviors. The modern food environment trains the body to fear hunger itself. But then something changed. Around the second week, his hunger patterns began disappearing. Not completely, but differently. Instead of constant cravings, hunger started arriving in waves, then fading. His energy stabilized. Mental clarity sharpened. Morning brain fog vanished almost entirely. And beneath the surface, his metabolism was beginning to shift. Researchers studying fasting have observed that extended periods without food can push the body toward metabolic switching, a process where the body begins relying more heavily on stored fat and ketones for fuel instead of constant glucose intake. That shift may influence far more than weight loss. Ketones themselves are being intensely studied for their relationship to brain function, inflammation, oxidative stress, and cognitive performance. Some neuroscientists even believe ketone metabolism may represent a more stable energy source for certain brain processes. But the most important discovery wasn't happening in his brain. It was happening deep inside his cells. And what scientists found there completely changed the future of longevity research. The process is called autophagy, and some scientists believe it may be one of the closest things the human body has to an internal regeneration system. The word literally means self-eating. When nutrients become scarce, the body begins breaking down damaged cellular components, dysfunctional proteins, and biological waste that would otherwise continue accumulating over time. In simple terms, the body starts cleaning itself from the inside. That discovery changed longevity science forever. In fact, research into autophagy became so important that Japanese cell biologist Yoshinori Ohsumi received the 2016 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his work uncovering its mechanisms. And suddenly, fasting no longer looked like an ancient survival behavior. It looked like biological engineering. As the protocol continued, his data started changing in ways he couldn't ignore. Inflammation markers improved. Body fat dropped without constant calorie obsession. Resting heart rate stabilized. Energy became consistent throughout the day. But the most shocking result came from biological age testing. According to epigenetic and biomarker-based measurements, his biological age had begun moving backward. Not dramatically, not magically, but enough to terrify him. Because if aging could slow, even slightly, then aging wasn't simply fate anymore. It was at least partially biological programming, and programming can potentially be influenced. That realization pushed him deeper into the world of fasting science, longevity protocols, and metabolic optimization. Researchers studying caloric restriction, insulin signaling, mitochondrial function, and cellular repair have spent decades investigating why certain fasting protocols appear connected to lifespan extension in multiple organisms. While human longevity science is still evolving, one pattern keeps appearing repeatedly. Chronic overconsumption places enormous stress on the body. Modern humans don't just eat too much. They almost never stop eating. Constant insulin spikes, constant digestion, constant stimulation. The body rarely enters repair mode anymore. And that may be why fasting feels so unnatural at first. Not because the body is failing, because modern lifestyles trained the body to fear temporary discomfort. But fasting changed more than his biomarkers. It changed his relationship with discipline itself. He stopped eating out of boredom, stopped chasing dopamine through sugar, stopped depending on food for emotional regulation. For the first time in years, he felt fully in control of his impulses. That psychological shift may be one of the most overlooked effects of fasting, because underneath the biology, fasting forces the brain into confrontation with craving, habit, and discomfort. And many biohackers believe learning to tolerate controlled discomfort strengthens mental resilience far beyond nutrition alone. But there's also an important reality most internet gurus ignore. Extreme fasting is not harmless. Long fasts can become dangerous without proper medical supervision, electrolyte balance, nutritional planning, and individual health considerations. Fasting is a tool, not magic, and the science around longevity is still developing in real time. Still, one fact remains impossible to ignore. The human body may contain survival systems far more powerful than most people realize. Systems modern civilization almost never allows people to activate anymore, which raises a disturbing possibility. What if aging isn't only about time? What if it's also about environment, behavior, and the constant biological overload modern humans mistake for normal life? Maybe the future of longevity won't begin inside a futuristic laboratory. Maybe it begins the moment humans relearn how to give their bodies something civilization removed long ago. Periods of true metabolic rest. If this video changed the way you think about aging, fasting, or human biology, drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you ever try a controlled fasting protocol to improve your health? Or does the idea sound too extreme? And if you want more dark, science-backed stories about biohacking, longevity, AI, and the hidden mechanisms controlling the human body, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who still believes aging is completely unavoidable. Because the next revolution in human survival may not come from technology alone. It may come from rediscovering what the body was capable of.